Hello everyone. Happy Sunday afternoon. Just gonna wait for somebody to pop on here. Hope you guys are all doing okay. Looking at my window right now. I don't know why I'm hot right now. Hi Michelle. Glad you could join us. Hi Stella. And Veronica. And Donna. I'm so glad you guys are with me. I'm ready to go, but I'm like almost morning. Hey Darla. Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad you got the cards. Yes. And Nancy jumped on. Thank you for joining us, Nancy. I'm just hot this morning, you guys. I had my hair down and I was gonna make it one of those hair down days, but oh my gosh. Before I got downstairs, I'm like, this stuff is coming up. I'm not gonna be able to go through a whole hour with my hair down, so I'm glad you guys are all with me today. I have a special project, and it's actually a project that a couple of weeks ago I reached out to you guys and asked you give me some ideas of some things that you want to see, and not just my, oh good, thank you Donna, glad you got them. Not only did I get some feedback about wanting some more projects, some home decor projects, but a member of my team, hey Marianne, also wanted to see some cards that you could do with pictures. You could put some pictures in. So I threw together a couple of things, and I think now I'm ready actually to show you guys how to do the cards with pictures. Just want to make sure I can see my whole screen. But thank you guys for joining me this Sunday afternoon, taking some time out. I'm going to limit today's projects to just 2 because each one of them is a little bit more involved than a regular card. So, but I wanted to give you an alternate for a portrait card or a landscape card. But thank you for joining me. If you have never watched any of my videos before, my name is Barbara Ragsdale, and I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I live in the San Antonio, Texas area. So if you're joining me from out of state, thank you for joining me, whether you're a demonstrator or not. So I'm just glad you're here with me. And today, well, let me finish my introduction. But I am located in the San Antonio, Texas area. All right, we'll get you something, Veronica. And if you're not familiar with Stampin' Up, we are a paper crafting company, and we cater to all levels of crafters. Whether you don't know what you're doing, whether you used to stamp and you want to get back into it, or maybe you occasionally stamp, or you're pretty avid. So in our catalog, we have a variety of items that cater to whatever level you are. So when I do the demonstrations, I try to showcase some of the products in action. Well, I do, but I try to get a variety going because I know there's different levels. So sometimes you'll hear me refer to simple stamping, and those are more catered to the beginners. But at the same time, you could have a really avid crafter that does some really beautiful simple stamping, which simple stamping is just your inks, your paper, and your stamps. That's all it really is. So, but I'm glad you joined me. And I don't know if you noticed, I have a blackboard off to the side over here. And last week, what I did was I did a video based on the Get and Go promotion. So Stampin' Up! Has a kit promotion for the whole month of September, and in addition to the regular kit items that you would normally get, you normally would choose $125 in product, any product of your choice, for only $99. Plus you get other benefits. There's a free paper pumpkin kit that would come with it. There's free shipping, and our usual great demonstrator benefits. But the reason why September was so special is because everything you see on that blackboard I did a video last week, so if you're interested in seeing that, just go back and watch last week's video. But for this month, you're actually going to get what you normally get in a kit, plus you're going to get those 2 stamp sets, which one of them was the Queen Anne's and the other one was So Much Love. You're going to get a free package of the basic rhinestone jewels, plus you're going to see there's 2 cut kits down at the bottom. There's enough cut paper to make 16 cards. And at the top, those were the cards that I made last week. So those are the cards that we're actually going to be giving away today. So I've got all of my entries here, and if you happen to hear some cat wailing in the background, it's because we had to put up Archie, the big blue Russian that we have, because the last couple of days, he's just had this habit of coming in here and just laying down on my space where I can't do anything. And as soon as I pick him up, and he's a large cat. This cat is like almost 19 pounds. And I picked him up and put him down, and he'd turn around and jumps back up. So I asked Chris just to put him up for today. Beano, you might see Beano pop up in the background. Not too concerned about Beano, but I want to go ahead and do the drawings for the cards. And these cards right here are the same cards that are on that blackboard behind me. So these are the cards that we made last week using the Queen Anne's lace. Where's the other one? It's in the middle. With our Coastal Cabana and Bermuda Bay colors, as well as some Daffodil Delight. And then this was the So Much Love card that we did. And then there's the other one. So those were the 4 samples that Stampin' Up! Came up with to give you an idea of how to use that product. But if you're doing this for a hobby, even for a hobby discount, you can use that extra product for whatever you want. So basically it's over $233. When you break down the value, it's over $233 worth of product that you're getting for only $99 plus tax. So that's a great deal. So if you are interested in taking advantage of that deal, just let me know, or you can go straight to my website or my blog. There's a couple of pages that have joined my team. And you could do it either way. So, but just let me know if you have any questions beforehand. So let's give away those cards, and then let's give away, what else are we giving away? Oh, that's the only giveaway we have this week, because we redrew last week for those other cards that were unclaimed. But we're in September, so there's a new special, the new online ordering special, and it's using Life is Beautiful. So if you order $25 or more directly from my website, you're going to get a kit in order to make the 4 cards that we did at the beginning of the month. And when I did these, I was trying to do one for every season. So you've got this one. There was a few techniques that we did in some of these, and then this wintry one that featured snowman season. So when I did this one, I used the Life is Beautiful stamp set plus snowman season in order to get that snowman and the sentiment there. So that is the September online ordering special. And I still have a few more days registration left until my weekend retreat in New Braunfels. So getting pretty excited about that. The day retreat registration deadline has already passed. We're actually cutting for that. So that's mainly too while the board is up, because I didn't want to move everything on the table. So it's all covered up and behind it. Sherry came over yesterday and we were assembling some pillow gifts while we were watching Jennifer's holiday kickoff on Facebook, so, or listening to it and watching all the demonstrations. Hi Bonnie, thanks for joining. So let's go ahead and give away the cards from last week. Somebody just fell out of the, let me pick that up. I don't know who that was, but that might have been the winner. So let me shake those back up. Let's give away some cards. There we go. So who is going to win? Now, if you've not watched me before, what I'm doing right now is the drawing. So when you like and comment and share, and shares get 2 entries. Hi Carolyn, glad you could join us. When you like, comment, or share any of my videos, my weekly videos, that gets you entered into the drawing to win the cards that I made for the previous week. So, and when you share, you have to let me know you shared, because Facebook doesn't always tell me when exactly and who exactly shared the video, so I don't know who to give full credit to. But that's what we're drawing for right now. So let's pick a name. I'm just gonna pick one here. I'm trying not to look at it. There we go. Oh, it's a favorite. I don't know if you can see that. I'm gonna turn around and see if you can see that. But it says Joyce Frederick. Yay! I know Joyce has won before. So Joyce, I already have your address. I will get those cards out to you in tomorrow's mail. All right. So congratulations again, Joyce. And that's how you win, you guys, just by watching my videos. And obviously the more likes, the more comments, the more shares, the better opportunity you have to win the prizes. So that's how you win. So let's put those aside, and then we'll go ahead and get started. I wanted to use the because honestly I couldn't remember if I'd used it before, but the Christmas Gleaming Christmas stamp set. It's a bundle actually that's in the holiday catalog, and I'm going to point the camera down so you can actually get a better picture of the stamp set, and I'm going to show you the paper. So the projects that I did today are using that particular bundle. So let's go ahead and get started. And I don't know if you can see, I got my Stamp Therapist shirt on today, my blingy Stamp Therapist shirt. So I am all ready, and now you're gonna see my outside. Let's get this pointed down. Let me get those prize things out of the way there and show you. Let's go ahead and show you the 2 projects that we're doing today. And these are actually these were designed in order to hold photos. Now, there's one of Archie's little, see, I told you the cat was up here and I didn't realize he was sitting on the cards. But these are the 2 cards that are designed in order to hold photos inside of them. And this piece of paper right here, they're open on the top so that you can pull. This is my mock photo, which is just a sheet of Whisper White, but it's designed to just slide in. Same thing for this one, but instead of the top, I have it opening on the side. And because this paper is, pull it out, is very vanilla. So I did 2 pieces of paper because I used Whisper White with this pretty peacock color over here, just to give it some nice contrast. But the same thing for this side. I just decided to open it from the left side, and I'm using very vanilla because of the designer series paper, the color that's in there. And I'm actually going to show you how to do the window sheets today. So that's why there's a couple of things going on with these cards. But let me put those aside. And this is the bundle that we'll be working with. So if you have your holiday catalog, actually now they're referred to as mini catalogs, but for us it's got nothing but holiday stuff in it, so I still call it the holiday catalog. But it's on page 19, and that's the bundle we'll be working with. And the Christmas Gleaming bundle actually comes with the stamp set, and then there's 2 coordinating punches that come with it. And for that bundle, it's $63. And this bundle actually returned from last year. This was in our catalog last year, and so I was so glad to see it. And then plus, I just pulled a 6x6 sampling that I had out, but I'm going to show you. I'm going to try to fan these out. But these are all of the sides, the sides of the pages that you get with the designer series paper. You've got 6 designs. See if I can fan that out a little better here. You've got 6 designs, And each design, it's a specialty designer paper, and the reason why they call that a specialty designer series paper is because for every one sheet that we have, there's a side that's real shimmery, and this is gorgeous. This paper I love. I think the pretty peacock and the copper that's going on in this picture is just beautiful. So, but there's one side that's shiny, and then the other side is kind of like a matte. There's no shininess to it, but there's still a designer series paper design going on there. And that's true for every single paper that you see here. That's a sampling of all of the different papers that are in here. Which, by the way, is two of these cards that I'm going to show you. These are just some more examples that I made using this particular stamp set. And this card and this card right here. These are actually two of the samples that I made for the Christmas card Stamp-A-Stack classes for this year. So if you're interested in doing your Christmas cards and using this particular bundle with this designer series paper, you might want to consider signing up for one of my Christmas Stamp-A-Stack classes. And if you're not located in the San Antonio area, that's okay, because we can prepare these kits for you to go as well. You just need the stamps and the inks. Everything else will be punched and die cut for you as much as possible. And this ribbon right here is not ribbon that we sell in that color. We sell the ribbon. This is normally a whisper white, but if you've seen any of my videos before, a while back, I took that whisper white ribbon with our blends and made them this color so that they would match the colors, this Night of Navy and Mossy Meadow color. Yes, Darla, they're cute. And then the inside is just a, on that one I did do an ornament. So, and then here's a couple of other designs. These aren't part of my Christmas Stamp-A-Stacks, they're just part of extra designs showing you some other things that you could do with this particular bundle that we're going to be working with today. So, I just wanted to show you those. I normally don't show extra samples of what I can do with the cards that we're working on, but I happen to have those handy, so I wanted to show you guys that. So let's go ahead and let's get started. We're going to get started on this one first. And let me bring my supplies over. And I want to show you some of the things that I'm going to be using in with what I'm doing today. So everything that I'm showing you isn't strictly from the Christmas Gleaming bundle. I'm using the Tag Buffet, which several weeks ago I did the Tag all-inclusive kit, but I'm only using this because I love that sentiment right there, that Merry Christmas sentiment. I love the font, I love the size, and so I went ahead and just pulled this stamp set out so that I could use that sentiment on here. And then with this particular project, I'm also going to show you how to decorate your envelopes, because most of the time we just do cards. We don't even think about the envelopes, but that's a pretty compliment to an envelope when you can put a piece of the designer series paper on the back. So in order to do that, you can do it manually. There's no I mean, we've done it manually where we've put things on the back here, but what I'm using specifically are the envelope dies out of the holiday catalog. And from here you can see there's various sizes of back of envelopes, and then various things that you can do to help kind of add some more decoration to those back of the envelopes. But I'm using the largest one, so that one's not in there because I have it out. So we're using that. And then I'm also using again our rectangle stitched framelits, because there's a couple of actually there's one, sorry, there's two that I'm using out of this stamp set. I'm sorry, out of the die cut set, so that I could make the openings for these cards here. So those are a couple of extra things, but when I'm done with my videos, I complete the supply list and I actually post it on my blog. So if you're interested in all of the supplies that I use today in order to make these photo cards, let me know, or you can go straight to my blog and see a full color list, including the links in order to go to my website and order. So the main color is this pretty peacock color, and then we've got some copper, our copper paper. And then I went ahead and cut some of these. I went ahead and cut some things, but then there are a few things that I saved in order to show you how to do on the embossing machine. But I went ahead and cut our window sheets. By the way, with our window sheets, you can also create shaker cards. And I was looking for an example of one that I might have right here, but I don't have one. Not right here where I can grab super quick. Which is surprising because, oh, you know what? I do have one. Hold on. I do have one. It's in with the holiday. It's in with the holiday crafting retreat pictures that I have set aside. This was a card that I did, which is one of the other cards that's in my Christmas Stampa stacks as well. And this was actually one of the cards that I did in the holiday countdown before the holiday catalog was released. So you can see I created a shaker card and put some snowflake sequins on the inside of it. This card actually is, I wanted to replicate what's in the catalog, and let me show you if this picture looks familiar to anyone. On page 36 of our holiday catalog, the Snowflake Splendor Suite, it's that card right there. I just turned it landscape because I chose a different sentiment to put in there. But that's one of the Christmas Stampa stack cards that I have available. It's a few extra steps, so it's not necessarily a beginner, but a beginner could do it with some instruction. So that, okay, so the window sheets, and then I have all my little scraps and whatnot. And let's go ahead and start putting this thing together so I can show you. We're just folding our base in half. Get my bone folder and help with that crease there. And then let me go ahead and get this white, this piece of Whisper White on the inside so I can eliminate some extra loose pieces here. Let's get this moving. There we go. This is our, I'm actually using our Seal Plus for this particular project. So we want to get that down and get that centered where you can see some of that pretty peacock all the way around. And then now let's work on our frame. And the frame, I'm going to push some of this stuff back so I can bring the die cutting machine over. But this is, when I cut this piece of copper, it's exactly the width of the front of the paper, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then I'm going to use the die cut in order to punch out the middle piece, but I'm also going to do some embossing with an embossing folder on the outside. That was my blackboard that just fell, so I don't know if Beano bounced up against it and it fell. So here is our die cut and embossing machine. Pretty. There's the Stampin' Up logo on the front there. I don't know if you can see that. But if you notice, there's also a magnetic plate. We can finally order a magnetic plate. So I've already got my sandwich built there, and we're gonna take that piece of copper, and then we are using, let me get the right one here. I just had it out. Here we go with losing stuff, you guys. Let me make sure it's not under here. No. I just had the die to cut out the middle of it. It's right here. Y'all, I'm really losing it today. They're both right here in the bin that I had set aside. So let's do this. Let's get that down. Pick that back up. And we're gonna get this cut out first. So I want to center it because I don't want to waste, let me bring this back over a little bit. I don't want to waste any of this copper paper because it's beautiful paper, but at the same time, I'm going to get to use 2 pieces out of this. So what I'm doing is just centering this over that piece of copper. And then I'm going to purposely use one of my cutting plates that has, you know, some etching already in it. And there's a reason why I'm using this one and not a clean one. And I want to show you what would happen. So let me get that run through. And then I'm not going to put it away because I still have some embossing to do with the embossing folder. But I don't know if you can see that, but when I first showed it to you, this piece of paper was smooth. But now it has some, it looks like scratches on it. And that would be true because when you use your die cutting machine, you always want to make sure that you have a top plate that's clear. And I just happen to have one here that's clear because I got a new package. So I didn't use that one just yet because I wanted to show you what would happen if you use a cutting plate that was all kind of etched. Those impressions on the etching, whatever side you use, will transfer to your paper. And unfortunately, with the gold or silver paper that we have, because it's a smooth surface, it shows up pretty bad. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this out because I could use this piece of paper later as a mat. So I'm going to pop that out, and you'll notice there's that rectangle stitching going on there on the edge. And that's what the rectangle stitch dies do. It's just they're a bunch of different sizes of rectangles. So I'm going to set that aside, and I still want to use this, but I don't want all of that to show. And so in order to do that, I'm going to emboss it. So I'm going to change out my sandwich because the subtle embossing folder is a 3D folder. So let me get that in there. And there is a line on this one, so you could line it up, but mine's pretty straight. So my sandwich is the base, my 3D embossing folder, and then we have the number 4 plate. And we're going to get that on there. Let me move this back a little bit and run that through. And then all those little scratches that you saw in the beginning will have magically disappeared in the embossing. So now you couldn't even tell that there was little scratches that were on there. So let me put that aside. I'll be using that again later. But what I'm doing now is I'm going to go ahead and finish building the front. And because this paper is thicker than our designer series paper, I'm just going to leave this as the mat, but I'm going to help build it up. So we're going to flip this over, and in order to get the piece of window sheet, and I made the window sheet a little bit larger than the opening of the rectangle stitch that I just did. So I'm going to put 4, maybe a few more glue dots. I'm just using our glue dots, and I'm going to stick one in definitely every corner. And then I'm going to stick some more on each of the sides just to help hold that piece, that window sheet piece down. So I'm going to get some over here. And you'll want to make sure you put it as close as you can to the rectangle stitching, depending on how much larger you made that window sheet. And I'll show you, because you don't want a piece of this glue dot sticking out past your window sheet, or else your picture, when you try to get it in there, it'll stick. It'll catch on and it'll stick. And then I'm just going to place the window sheet directly over, and I want to kind of hover it so I can get it even. And then once I have it even, then you can help hold it in place with those glue dots. Just press down on those sides. And so now you have a window there. And then because this is a dark cardstock, I don't want white dimensionals showing up under here. So what I did is, for this project, I'm using our black dimensionals, because we do have a package of black dimensionals available, and it's a multi-pack, so it comes with the larger ones and the little mini ones as well. So for this one, I'm going to use, I know you can't tell from there, but I'm using the mini ones, and I'm going to use the mini ones, and I'm going to put them as close as I can to the edge without it being obvious that there's some dimensionals on the corner. And this is going to help pop up this frame piece from your cardstock. And then let's go ahead and put one in the bottom middle. I'll have to measure again that piece that I have the cut piece that I was sliding in and out, because it's not, our regular size cards aren't, you know, we can put probably a 4x6 picture in there that's been kind of cropped down to just the parts that you want to show. But other than that, a good wallet size. I know people like to send Christmas cards to family and friends. I know we do at Christmas time. We always include a picture. And then just remove those backings, but leave that top part open, because that's where your piece of paper is going to slide in. And then on your mat here, just center it over. It's supposed to cover the entire piece of cardstock. And then once you have it down, just gently tap where you know those dimensionals are. And then now you have a little bit of dimension going on in your card. So now we want to dress it up. And in order to do that, we're going to use one of the punches that comes in the bundle. And then I have my scrap piece of designer series paper, so I'm just going to punch it out. This could actually be any piece of designer series paper. And then we're going to put a dimensional on the back of that, just in the middle. Oh, by the way, there's my website, my blog spot, and there's the monthly host code for September. So if you see anything you like today and you want to place an order, if you go to my website, place an order and use that host code, you will get a kit in order to make, if your order is at least $25 or more, you'll get that kit in order to make those 4 cards using Life is Beautiful. And I like to cut my ribbons on the roll so that I can adjust it if I need to, and there's a minimal waste. So this this ribbon right here actually is part of a set, and I'm gonna grab that set for you. We have a basket weave and metallic ribbon combo that is with the Gilded Autumn Suite, and I just used the copper ribbon out of that pack. And unfortunately, we don't have copper embossing powder anymore. I was kind of bummed. So when I do the next technique, I'm going to show you how to emboss with our embossing powder. And then we'll just put that there. And I didn't do it on this card, but you know what? I think this card needs, because y'all know me, I like to put stuff in the middle of my bows. This one needs something in the inside there. So let's do that to dress the middle of that bow up. And I'm going to go ahead and put one on the sample that I have too. I did it on the second one. I just didn't do it on this one. Those are real easy. Sometimes our embellishments, the tiniest embellishment makes a big difference. It helps things pop. So we are almost done. And I've got a scrap of my pretty peacock right here because I'm going to show you how to use the embossing technique. I would have preferred for this to be in a copper. So if you have supplies, I do have copper, but unfortunately it's retired, and I'm not going to show you anything that's retired. So I decided to use, because I used a white insert on the inside, is why I went ahead and decided to use the white embossing powder. So let me show you how to do that. And in order to do embossing, I've gone ahead and mounted our stamp on the acrylic block. We're going to use Versamark. And this is just a sticky, kind of clear ink. I don't even know if it's classified as an ink, but it's sticky and it's clear and you can't see it, but I'm going to, you might be able to see it once after I stamp, but you notice how you can read it, but it's wet right now. So while it's wet, the one thing I didn't do, and there's a reason why, is I didn't brush the paper with the, let me get my scrap right here, with the embossing buddy. We don't carry the embossing buddy anymore, which I'm kind of surprised. Not sure why we would have embossing powder, but you can easily use a dryer sheet. And you want to take the static off your paper. So I just covered that wet stamp, and you'll see it start to come to, and then I'm going to tap that off, and that actually is pretty clean. This could have been the piece of paper that I had earlier when I was doing the sample, and it already has been wiped off. But if you happen to have any loose pieces of the embossing powder around, and you don't want to mess up, or you don't want your finger to slip and mess up and get in there, I always keep little brushes nearby, so that if there was a piece there, I could just kind of brush it off. Right now it's loose, it's not yet embossed. Now in order to get that back in the canister, the little can here, because it's a small can, uh-oh, I knew that was going to happen. Hold on, you guys. I kind of knew that was going to happen. I didn't intend for that to happen, but just kind of did, and now I'm kind of trying to figure out how I can get, I don't want to get this little powder everywhere because it gets everywhere. Let me get rid of some of this. I'm just going to fold that piece of paper and get that powder back in where it belongs. And let me try to get, this could be on the bloopers reel. I don't have bloopers reels, but this is the kind of stuff that makes bloopers reels. Let me close this up before I spill it anymore. And before I go any further, I'm going to take our heat gun and just help blow some of that off, because I still feel it there. And then I have a clothespin that's going to help hold that, because I don't want to get my fingers too close. But this is, oops, our heat emboss tool, and we're going to heat up that embossing powder, and you'll be able to see right before your eyes, once it starts to heat up, that white powder is going to become really bright and shiny. And sometimes it takes a moment to get the heat powder heated up, but you can see that kind of turning white and bright. Let's make sure I go over it. Well, I'm going to unplug that, because I think when it, I'm going to unplug it. Ugh. It wouldn't turn off for me. I was like, what the heck? Okay, so now we have a piece of embossed, and now I can go over it and it doesn't mess it up. The paper's warm, and then now we're just going to cut on the other project. I did this same, I'm going to go back and fix it a little bit better. I did the same thing here, but I used ink. I didn't use embossing, and it just didn't look right. The other color is very vanilla, and this is a white. This is a really bright white color. So I just went back to traditional stamping on the other project. But on this one, I am just manually cutting all the way around. You don't have to do this part. You can do the traditional stamping if you wanted to, but I've seen this technique done on several cards, and I was like, I'll try it too. I don't know that I'm completely crazy about it, because I'm so used to the normal stamping technique, but I guess it depends on your card. It could look cute. Different. Okay. Let me bring the card back, and then for the back of this one, I'm just going to use some of the small ones, the small dimensionals, and I'm going to stick one at the ends, both ends, and then a couple in the middle, just to help make sure it stays popped up. We'll peel those off, and then we're going to put it down at the bottom. There you go. And just tap it down. And there is project number 1. Let me find the little piece of, it was 3.5 by 5 is the piece, the scrap piece that I cut out. So if you have a photo that's 3.5 by 5, once you slide it in, and all you do is you open up the top there where you didn't put a dimensional and get your photo in there, and then it slides right on in. And then depending on who's in the picture or how much it's cropped, you could definitely add another piece of a punched out ornament, maybe up here. You could move things around. So if you want your Merry Christmas to be at the top, you just do it based on whatever picture you have in there. But that is card. That's card number 1, photo card number 1. And as far as the envelope is concerned, what I did with the envelope is I took, let me find the die. I took the the envelope die, the largest one, and I'm going to butt this up against so that you can see it. That way you can see what size. But I took the largest die and put it on this paper here, and then you could definitely go ahead and cut a strip the width of the die, but you can also put this full piece. I put my full piece in and then just trimmed it off afterwards, and then you get this piece that has this little scalloped edge to it. And then when you flip it over, you're gonna see some overhang on both sides. I may do the one for the second card, but then all you do is you take your paper snips and you go off to the side and then just trim it off so that it's even. And then I left that little overhang, that scalloped overhang, on the back side. And then you have a pretty envelope that coordinates with your Christmas picture card that you'll send out. And it doesn't have to be Christmas, you guys. It could be a spring card, it could be any other card, happy birthday, whatever you want it to be. You can customize it. But there you go. I think it's cute. So let's get started on the card number 2, which is that one. And then let me do this, because I still feel, I'm going to do that with my little Swiffer. Get those little pieces off. That's going to drive me nuts. And then we're going to do the same thing with this second card, but this one we're using Night and Navy. And then we're going to use a different, this is for the envelope, so I can actually show you how to do the envelope die. And then I went ahead and cut out 2 pieces. These were full pieces. Let me show you. I actually did them both at the same time. So I put a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 sheet of this designer series paper in our Night and Navy cardstock, and the designer series paper was light enough, so I went ahead and cut them both at the same time using that same stitched rectangle die from the first card. And then what you get left after those pieces pop out, or you get these 2 pieces that you can actually use for another card. So you always want to hold on to nice pieces that are like that. It has the stitched edge to it. So then now you have 2 extra pieces that you can use for something else. And then I have my die cut here. But I'm going to put this piece of designer series paper onto this piece of Night and Navy matte in order to help give it some strength. And in order to do that, I'm going to use our Seal Plus. And I'm going to go slow because I want to make sure I get as close to the edge as I can. And you want to go all the way around because you want this piece to really stick to that piece of Night and Navy. Okay, so now let's hold our breath and let's hope I get this on. Get this on right. It's going to match up evenly because I cut the 2 pieces together. I just need to line up these 2 bottom pieces before I press down on anything. There we go. So then now I have 1 piece, and that cardstock helps with the mat. So let's go ahead and fold our card base. And this one, I did it landscape. The other one, when I was done with it, I did it a portrait so that it opens. Get it back here, so that this one opens this way. This one is going to be opening this way. So it all depends on how you cut that piece of 8 1/2 by 11 cardstock. That will depend on how you want it to be. Do you want it to be that way? You could also turn it sideways like that, and then it'll open from left to right. It all depends on how you're designing it. And then I didn't put a piece of Very Vanilla in there, but I think that's already cut for it. Yeah, it is. It's the scrap piece that I need that's still in my little basket in order to stamp that Merry Christmas sentiment. So let's get some seal on the back of that. Go ahead and get that on the inside. Oops. It's sticky. Okay, so we got that out of the way. And then I have, there was a piece of copper that I had from one of the other card that I did. So I went ahead and used that for something else I was doing. But since I had already cut into it, I'm gonna go ahead and use this piece in order to cut out that ornament since it's already embossed. So let me turn it sideways. I'm gonna try to maximize, well, let's just do it that way. That way it's up and down. And then we're going to get a dimensional on the back of that. We're going to do our frame here in a little bit. Oh, let's not take that off. Let's just go ahead and do that piece for now. And I'm going to set that aside because I need my frame to be on there too. But I also need to go ahead and do the window sheet before I get too far into this. We're going to do the same thing that we did on the other card where we put a glue dot on all four corners. I haven't been looking at the comments, you guys, so if you're joining me for the first time, thank you for joining me, and I hope you get some inspiration out of this idea here. That, just putting some glue dots around to make sure I can keep that window sheet. And I did a window sheet because I wanted to make sure that if you did put a photo in there, that it would be protected. So let's get that over there. There we go. And then let's put our dimensionals as close to the edge as possible. You might be able to fit a larger picture in there. You might have to play with a piece of paper. Yeah. This one's going to open up sideways, so I want to make sure I leave one or the other sides open to slide the photo in. Yeah. I hope you guys are all enjoying your Sunday afternoon. And I thank you for taking some time out to hang out with me here. Let me get those pressed down a little bit. And peel these little backings off. When I logged on my computer this morning, I had a Weather Channel ad that popped up. Well, it wasn't an ad, but it was a story. And all I saw was another, let me get this on here first, was another storm brewing up, and I'm like, oh goodness, here we go again with another storm. So I don't know if you guys are gonna be, if any of you are in that area, but please be careful. Oh, I just hate it every time I see something brewing up and you just never know where it's gonna hit. So this piece of scrap designer series paper that matched the mat, I'm gonna use the other ornament punch and just punch one out there. And we'll get a dimensional on the back of that as well. That off. So now I'm going to go ahead and put the other one on since I have the mat on there now. Goodness, I don't know why I can't take this one off. Sometimes these things are like, what is going on with this dimensional? It was on, like literally it won't come off. That piece of paper won't come off. Alright, let's do this. I'm gonna try to pop that off. I don't know why it won't come off, guys. And then I'm gonna put a fresh one on top of that piece there. That was weird. I don't know if y'all ever had that happen. Let me make sure this is opening up the right way. Oh, when I put it on backwards, so the picture's gonna slide from the right. So let me put this on the left. And I'm not even gonna try to pick that up because I know something will tear at this point. And so let's get this one down here. So this card is gonna be a mirror image of the other one. See, that's why you have to pay attention to what you're doing when you're putting stuff down. Yeah, it'll have to slide from the right. But it looks good either way. So we'll just go with it. See if I can read some comments. Marianne, late, we'll watch replay. That's okay. Yeah, I love it when you guys can join me live, but if you can't, I totally understand. We all have a lot going on in our lives, but that's what the replays are for. You can definitely watch the replay. You can still win if you watch the replay, so you're not really missing out. You can still comment, like, and share. And I like to put a couple of glue dots when I put, goodness, I'm trying to get it on there and not on my finger. When I put these down to make sure that they stick. If it's going to a place that's got some crazy humidity, it might not last long on there, so I want to make sure that they stick. And then, oh, by the way, these are our star design elements that I'm using, and they're in the annual catalog. They're returning from last year as well. And you know what? I didn't do one on the first card, but let's put one on the small one as well, just because we can. Oops. That one popped off and went straight to the floor. Let's just put one on the small one to have something right there. And then I'll use this last one for my card. Oops. Let's get that. There we go. Let's get that off. And then the only thing that we have left is to stamp our sentiment on the Night of Navy. So we're going to do our matte real quick. And in order to do that, I'm going to show you, let's go ahead and stamp the Merry Christmas sentiment, and we're going to stamp that in Night of Navy. But before I do that, I need to clean that stamp because remember it has Versamark on it, and I don't want Versamark on it. So this is our chamois. It's supposed to look like this after you've used it over and over and over, but it's just a chamois material that absorbs water. You wring it out, and it's a portable solution to being able to clean your stamps, as opposed to using our Stampin' scrub and our Stampin' mist. So we want to get this inked up. Just tap, tap, tap. You don't want to press it too hard in there. And because this is a photopolymer stamp, let me grab a foam mat. When we use our photopolymer stamps, you want to make sure you have a hard, and my surface is hard under here, so I'll be okay, but I didn't want to show you that. When you use your photopolymer stamps, you want to make sure that you have a foam mat underneath. And then let's get this stamp, just give it some light pressure and then pick it up, and then you have your Merry Christmas. And let's close that up. Now, the tricky part to this is, and it's not that it's a tricky part. Let's see if I have another one. No, I don't. I'm actually going to cut this piece, but if you notice, this blue mat is slightly smaller than the mat that I cut using that same mat from earlier. Oh no, this was, where's my other card? I didn't use it earlier. I tried to find a stitched mat that could go down to the size of this Merry Christmas, and this was the smallest one I could find that was that could accommodate the height of that stamp. So I'm going to show you how you can take those rectangle stitch dies and make your own size that you need. So let me go ahead and, where's my, oh, it's under here. I'm gonna cut down this piece of Merry Christmas down to 3.5, get that right, 3.5 by 1. Oops, it moved. Make sure I get it right. It has to be exactly right or it won't look right. Okay, so I just cut that down to 3.5 by 1. But if I tried to mat this on this blue piece, you see how it's kind of too much? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this same die and I'm going to re-dye this piece right here so that it matches. And in order to do that, I'm going to put this piece of Very Vanilla on the mat where I want it to be, and then I'm going to take that same die, and you have to be careful with this. This is where you have to be careful because you want to make sure that you're going to leave some room to mat, but at the same time your stitches line back up. Let me get that back out of there. So my stitch lined back up, and you will know it because you will feel it on the back when it lines up. That piece of paper went right back into the groove. And in order to customize it, I'm going to bring my embossing and die cutting machine back, and I'm going to assemble my mats again. So you want your base plate, this little top plate here, and then your magnetic platform. And my piece just moved, so let me get that back on there. So line it up, take your die, and put your die where you want the mat to cut, and then just take that little piece out. And then I'm waiting to feel where my mats line back up. Hold on. If this doesn't work this time, which it should, there we go, I'll give away my the sample. And then your top plate, and then run it through. And then I'm going to show you, let me take this out. Let me put this aside here, hold on. I was trying to peel it off at the same time, both pieces, so that you could see, but the mat is still stuck on there. So then all you do is you take that piece off, and you actually have another piece you can use as a scrap that's already a really, I want to say this is probably a 1/4 inch strip of rectangle stitch die that you could use for another piece. But when you pop that piece out, then you have continuous stitches all the way around. So I just shrunk the die in order to accommodate the mat that I was using. And then you can put this back on. And then I want to use large dimensionals. I want to put one on both sides. Get those off. You could also just put snail, the adhesive, the seal on there if you wanted to. And lay that flat on your mat. And then because I want it to pop up from there again, I'm going to put more dimensionals on the back. Peel those off and then just get that into place. Let's kind of put that behind there. Well, see if I can get that behind there without covering up. All right, let's do this. I'm going to peel that off so I can get that on there first. So you might want to do this. If you're doing this card, I would suggest putting the sentiment down first and then putting this on afterwards so that you can move it over a little bit. That paper tore just a little bit, but you can't see it now because this is covering it back up. But there is the finished. I'm going to do the envelope next, but there's the finished photo card there. And then I'm going to take that piece out and then just slide it in the right side. Is that the side? Yeah, let's get it in there right. Here we go. Just slide that in there. And then if your photo was taken landscape, you could use this version. Otherwise, you could turn it sideways and put your sentiment at the bottom and your ornaments on the other side or maybe up at the top. It all just depends on what you all want to see in the window of this photo card. And so now let's go ahead and do the envelope so I can show you how to do that envelope. I'm going to bring this out one last time. The same mat because we're die cutting. And then I'm going to take that scrap 6x6 piece and I'm going to kind of line it up. Let me do it sideways since it's going in one way. Try to line it up there. Get my cutting plate in there. And let's run it through. Okay. Let me get this out of the way and I'm going to bring back the paper trimmer. So now you can see that piece kind of flapped off there. And then I'm going to take and where the last cut is on that die, I'm just going to line it up with my cutting plate on the trimmer. And then now we have the cut piece for our envelope. And so now I've got my Very Vanilla envelope, and I'm using Very Vanilla because the paper that we stamped on for the sentiment is Very Vanilla, and in Very Vanilla is that light color that's in that designer series paper. So all you're going to do is take your seal, and you want it to be you want it to stick pretty good, so you want to take it and put it around the edge, but leave a little bit on the scalloped piece because remember there's going to be some overhang. There we go. And then add it to the back of your flap. You can also do, there's also inserts for the inside of the envelope too. So if you wanted to dress up the inside of the envelope, you can. So this side lined up, but do you see how there's some, oops, that one didn't work on there. I'm going to keep this for my sample because there's no way I'm going to take that off. That scallop is supposed to show, I'll show you. This is the sample one that I did, but that scallop is supposed to show more on that edge, but I laid it on there crooked. But if it was on there right and you would have this little overhang, this is where I was telling you all you have to do is just trim that off to make it even with your envelope, and then you have a decorated envelope flap. So there's that's what it would look like You see that overhang? So that's why when you're putting your adhesive on the scallop part, you don't want to go all the way to the edge, because that will show, and then that piece will end up sticking to your envelope, and then it'll just be a big mess. So let me get that set aside and bring back the samples. There's the envelope. And then there's that one. I'm telling you, once I'm done here, this gets messy. And then we have an envelope that matches with that one as well. What do you think, you guys? Hope you learned something, and or at least got an idea for something else. I know sometimes when I look at other people's projects and I think, oh, that's a really cute project, but then you want to make it your own, so you just make it your own. So that's what you can do with a little bit of paper and some window sheets. You have to get creative. You can bring out other products that you have in order to make it happen, like your embossing folders. This could have been embossed with anything, really. It could have been more decorative with, we have lots of embossing folders. Lots. And instead of the outside flap, you can always do an inside insert, so that when they open their envelope, this piece right here is shows a decorative piece instead of on the flap. I just chose to do it on the back because it was easier. But yeah, learned some neat tips today. You're welcome. You are so welcome. So I'm glad you guys enjoyed the projects. And let me get I had to put my board back up. So let me switch this back around. Okay. I had to put my board back up so y'all couldn't see what was behind it. And hopefully it won't go down in the meantime. So, but hey Jessica, I'm actually done. But you could go back and watch the replay and see how I did those two projects. So so if you like today's projects, you can thank Jessica Garza. She's watching right now. She's actually on my team, and she's from Ohio. You can thank Jessica because Jessica wanted to see more projects that had cards. I have a feeling that's going to fall down soon. So thank you, Stella. Thank you guys for joining me. I will be back next Sunday at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. So I hope you can join me next week. And if you missed, you have anybody that would like to learn this technique, you can share the video with them as well. So other than that, enjoy the rest of your Sunday afternoons, your Sunday evenings. Stay safe. Continue to practice social distancing. Wash your hands. And we'll see you back next week at 3 p.m. you guys. All right? Thank you. Bye-bye.